I just want to tell you what an honor it is that we would be invited to this particular group. We really like to get out and explain to people what we're doing and why we're doing it. To create a dialogue, I think everyone really benefits from that. So thanks for the opportunity for having us here today. Two issues that we've been involved with that may or may not affect you have to do with the Tax Commission's change in the definition of cell towers and billboards. That was really a controversial decision they made. It was a rule that they passed and we're bound by that rule. We're also here to talk about the Boise County boundary change. I called it a change a little bit earlier and I was corrected that it is not a change. It's something else that you will hear about. I brought Craig Church with me. He's our commercial appraiser to talk about the cell towers and the billboards and why we are doing what we're doing and what we are doing. And then I have Ann Kawalec. She is my land records supervisor. She used to talk about the boundary changes. Before I turn this over to Craig, I just wanted to tell you that we might not always agree with what the Tax Commission says. And the way they do, we've been directed to do the cell towers. We didn't agree with that, but they passed a rule. The legislature adopted that rule, and so we're really bound by that. And one thing we really pride ourselves in the assessor's office is carrying out the laws, the Constitution or the statutes or the rules and regulations that have been promulgated. I think that's probably the highest responsibility that I have in the assessors, to see that these laws, these policies are carried out to the best of my ability. So with that, I'm going to invite Craig to come up and just brief you on the cell tower issue.
Good afternoon. I'm Craig Church with Ada County Assessor's Office. I'm a commercial real estate appraiser. I guess Bob already covered that. But just give you kind of a brief overview of the changes in the assessment for cell towers and billboards. Basically what's happened is the State Tax Commission has redefined parts of each of these as structures, and now they're real estate. So picture a cell tower, the foundation in the ground, the pole coming out of the ground. They're saying that's real estate, but all those antennas that are attached to the top of it, those are still personal property. So what they've basically done is take something that was all assessed as personal, and now we've kind of had to carve that up into a real component and a personal property component. So assessments for these improvements and site values as well is something new that we've had to pick up for this year. So we're picking those up could be on the landlord's real estate parcel, or we've created leasehold parcels where people have requested them. In some instances, we may have a split between part of the tower being assessed on a real parcel and maybe a site being assessed on a leasehold parcel. So it's really kind of tough to identify where those are assessed. During the implementation, we had quite a few problems. You know, people would call in, didn't want the assessment on their real parcel, they wanted to pass it on to their tenants. We've worked with them on those situations, and where applicable, we've created these leasehold parcels. So it makes your job a lot more confusing when you're trying to find out whether there's an easement on a property or a leasehold interest. If you see something, I guess I should give you my email address. I don't actually have a PowerPoint on that, but it's cchurch@adaweb.net, or my direct line is 208-287-7225. Kind of one other interesting note on that, I guess, is ultimately, say you've got a leasehold parcel and they don't pay their taxes on that for a couple of years. Ultimately, the Treasurer's Office is going to go after the actual landlord, so the real owner's parcel, for payment of taxes on that. So that's something most people don't actually realize. So when we've created these two parcels, again, the real parcel is ultimately responsible for that. So it'd be a good idea to make sure on any of these that the taxes have been paid on any related leasehold parcels. A question in the back?
Yeah, is that leasehold parcel going to have a separate type of a tax parcel number, or will it be incorporated in with the real property number, or is it shown as a separate assessment?
It does have a separate parcel number, and we send the assessment for those, where applicable, directly to the tenant, so cell tower company or Lamar, the billboard company, whoever it may be. And like I say, you know, the only way to actually find them is looking in on those aerial photographs when you've got a property that's selling or you're working on. And yeah, Then I've kind of got a master list. And unfortunately, we can't put the leasehold parcels on our website, so that you can't search them based on the old parcels, which is something we may try and do. Yes?
Is that going to be done statewide then?
Eventually it will be. Ada County tends to move first in a lot of these things, and a lot of the other counties kind of wait and see, if there's any legal action. We had actually been anticipating legal action on this with the definition, and so far nothing's come about, so the other counties will be following step. I think Kootenai County is already doing it as well, and I imagine some others will be following in now. But again, that's pretty much my presentation. If there's any other questions that anyone's got, definitely give me a call or email me, and I'll be able to help you out trying to track those down. But I'll turn it over to Ann Kawalec with our Land Records Department, and she's going to talk to you about the boundary change. Thanks.
Good afternoon. My name is Ann Kawalec, and I am the Land Records Supervisor. I see some familiar faces around here. We work with title companies daily, and we really do appreciate the communication we've grown over the past few years. So thank you very much. I was asked to speak. I forget the names of the gentlemen, forgive me, that came into Bob's office when he mentioned during his meeting that there had been a change to our boundary, which automatically causes questions to be asked. And what I first want to say is it's not really a change. Nothing has changed with the boundary. It was surveyed in 1883, long, long time ago, and the records were just field notes in books all over from different counties and with state organizations. So as you can imagine, 100 and some odd years later, it's difficult to find. So in 2004, the county surveyor decided that it was time to make it a modern survey. So he went out and started looking and he did some massive research and trying to find the monuments that were already out there and do a modern day survey on those monuments and re-monument them using new tools that they have available. So they'll be there for another, 500 years, whatever. The tools that they have, or the monuments they have out now, I don't know if you've ever seen them, but they're big stones. And on one side they'll have an A, and on the other side they'll have a B, or for whatever county. A few weeks ago, I had the opportunity to speak with some other title officers, and Jerry Hastings, our current surveyor, put together a little document and presentation on how it was all done. And I have a few copies up here. I'll be happy to send them to you digitally if you'd like them. I'm not going to go there because I'm not a surveyor and I don't want to misspeak. In 2015, as I said, he started in 2004 looking for the monuments and putting it down putting it down on paper so it could be recorded like a regular survey. And it took until 2015 when they started developing up in Avamore to really kind of put a fire under the project and get it going, because there were some discrepancies in the map. Now, at this scale, I can't show you on a map, on a PowerPoint, what the differences are, but you can tell right here it's not much. Over a 21-mile stretch of land, it amounted to about 325 new acres in Ada County and 20 into Boise County. Not much in the whole scheme of things, and only about 50 parcels were affected or will be affected when we complete the change. So it's not really a whole lot. That's mostly ag land or exempt land. And up and around Avamore, that's just ag. And they will be developing into Jim County, but that hasn't happened yet. And we're just getting ready for this. And I did a close-up as close as I could to get it in one PowerPoint because I know this is not the most interesting topic in the world. We have been mapping it. I've got a surveyor on staff that's, because we've got a lot of data behind the scenes that we have to make sure everything's aligned. I'm not sure how many of you use our GIS data in your applications, but when we do this and we officially start in production for this, you will be notified ahead of time that, hey, it's different, and we'll do a little change management, but you're not really going to see a big change. So that's about all I have to say about the change, that's not really a change, it's a retracement. Yes, ma'am? Pardon me? Approximately 50. We haven't really completed all of the mapping in here. Coy has drawn the polygons and he's put in the new control for most of it, but we have some parcel lines to adjust. We've got so many other layers that are aligned with this. We have to make sure it's all sitting correctly so we don't pass out bad information. But as I said, it's not very many parcels that are affected. So Jerry Hastings is so happy about this project. He's very proud of it. There are a lot of surveyors that were involved with this. Sheldon Bluestein, who was my predecessor, he was very involved in it. So Jack Clark, I don't know how many of you worked with Jack Clark, who was in our office until he retired. So a lot of good people worked on this, and they're more than happy to talk about it. Jerry would have come today, but he's at a surveyors conference in Coeur d'Alene. So they're all up there. I've got his contact information on there, my contact information. Our website, this is the short link to the mapping website. So you can get there, and I'm sure we'll have something posted on there to let you know that this is the new boundary, readjusted. It's not readjusted, realigned. I've gotten myself in trouble saying that in front of a surveyor, so. Any questions? Thank you very much. And one other thing. When I met with the other title officers, the one question I remember they really wanted to know was, am I going to have to re-record a legal description? And the answer is no. So they're all referring to the boundary, and the boundary is what the boundary is. So that's it. Let's turn it off.